Do you think I'm Boo Boo the Fool?
Chelsie, if I don't say it enough, I love you.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back for a brand new episode of the Lone Limit Podcast. I'm your host, Chelsie. This is your other host, Ashlee.
Hey. That's a lot of head nodding.
Jay.
We're starting off with pure foolishness.
While you're over there criticizing yourself, I do have to say I'm disappointed in us.
What we do?
I was working on some stuff for the podcast, and I realized we're not good YouTubers, if you will.
Ooh.
So I wrote some notes down. So this is the time in the episode where I'd like to remind every new viewer to hit the subscribe button, turn on the notifications, so you never miss an episode. Because apparently we've never said that to people.
Oh, okay. All right. Maybe they didn't know. Maybe they didn't know.
Also, I want to make the announcement that we are now on TikTok. So go ahead and follow us, Lone Limit Pod.
And guys, I'll tell you right now, I'm actually dedicated to being the most unserious on the internet on TikTok. So we'll see where that goes.
Also, one last friendly reminder, because this is the section where we're going to do all the church updates.
Okay.
All links are down below, y'all. So if we ever mention a book, feel free to click that bookshop.org link. Go ahead and buy the book. Read it for yourself. Come back. Tell us what you thought. Unless you didn't like it and we did.
I mean, even with that, let us know. Because listen, you've seen us do it. Like, we like a good fight. We like a good fight. A mutually respectful disagreement is healthy, I feel.
I want to make it very clear. Just because I said I like a book does not mean it's always a good book, okay?
That's true. That's true. Just because I like it also doesn't mean I recommend it. So that's true.
You know?
That's true.
So now that we are done with the announcement section, Jay, I have a game I want to play with you.
Oh my God. Okay, I like games. I'm here for it. I'm not even going to be nervous. I'm ready.
All right, we're going to play a little FML, aka F, Marry. Wait, wow, the dyslexia in me just destroyed that.
Yo.
It's supposed to be FMK.
Yeah.
F, Marry,
What's
Kill.
What's hilarious?
Wow.
My dyslexia, I was with you too. I was like, yeah, I'm with it. The letters didn't even matter. I knew what you was talking about.
Since this episode,
I'm so nervous with who you're picking. Gosh. I wasn't nervous, but now I am. This is like the one game that makes me nervous. Okay, go ahead.
Since it is a special episode all about villains, if you will, we're going to play F, Marry, Kill Villains Edition.
Okay. Oh, gosh. This is gonna... All right.
All right. So your options for this round. Charles from LA Gets the D.
Okay.
Elijah from Ties That Tether. And Brandon from Love Utley. Which one are you marrying? Which one are you killing? Which one
so
are you saying?
I'm so mad right now. I am so mad right now. Okay. I think this actually isn't as horrible if I think logically. I'm gonna lean on logic here. I am completely getting rid off the face of the earth Charles.
Oh, okay.
I am going to marry Elijah. And then I think I gotta smash. What's his name? Brandon. See, he's so irrelevant. I don't even know.
The Office guy.
Yes. That wasn't as impossible, but that feels gross regardless. You can even pick like any hot villains. Like there was no villain that made me go think twice. Like, all right, nah, girl, come on.
I mean, the alternate is from Legends and Latte. So the pick is yours.
Ugh. I don't do creatures, I'm sorry. I can't even, like...
I'm not gonna lie. I picked these, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't know if I could choose looking at these.
I'm gonna make you choose. Who are you choosing?
I don't know.
Pick something.
I think I'm getting rid of Brandon. He's gotta go.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna marry Charles and let him go off and have his side pieces so I can have my side pieces, and we ain't gotta worry about nothing except for the holidays with his parents.
Yo, I love how you were like, I'm picking the one with the best house. Listen,
and then,
real estate is important, so yeah.
You know? And then I'm gonna kick it with Elijah one time, see what it's all about. You know what I mean?
That's not horrible. He just wasn't a love match, but he wasn't like a bad guy.
He was sprung. He was desperate. I mean,
I had to reach down to say that he was not a bad guy. He's not a bad guy. He just
said,
wasn't.
I'm thirsty.
Yeah.
You know when a kid comes to you and they say they're thirsty, and then you give them a cup of something to drink, and they just don't come up from air. You know what I mean? Like,
I just
he's
think of
that
all the
level of
backwash.
thirsty.
I'm like, that's your cup now. When I think of
like the gulping, the out of breath. Like, that's the level of
the
thirsty.
soggy goldfish floater.
Yo, what is wrong with you? How did we even get there?
I don't know, but this is also why when you hang out, your kids hang out with me, they get their own thing. Cause I'm sorry, I can't with the wet crackers. Nope. That's traumatizing.
I don't know where you went, Jay, but I'm gonna need you to come back.
Okay,
Come back from that dark place.
I'm back. See, we started on the villain train, and train left the station.
Oh my God, you about to become a villain, all right?
Listen, everybody needs an origin story.
Speaking of origin stories,
okay.
I almost became someone's origin story.
Did they survive?
They did
In fact,
survive.
don't answer that on the internet.
Did I Irish goodbye? Yes.
Okay.
But they're still
All right.
alive.
Good. That's
All
the
right,
legal
so boom,
bits.
check this out, right?
Good.
I went to a party, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna say names, because we're not outing people on the internet. But we got on the topic of books, and they started talking about, their goal is 36 books this year, and they've barely read 4.
Okay.
And in my head, I was
36 for the year, and they've read 4 up until now.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And in that moment, I thought, well, my goal is 100, and I've read 87.
Woof. Woof. Woof.
And I chose not to say that out loud because
you're trying to be a little respectful.
I wanted to be respectful to them, but I felt like in the moment I was making myself smaller to make them more comfortable. And it got me thinking about how there are people who read at all different speeds and all different types of topics. Mm-hmm. But do you think there's ever going to be a space where someone whose goal is 36 and they've only read 4 can be in the same room with someone who's read 87 out of 100 and no one feels like they're bragging or like they're too behind? Because I feel like there's a lot of pressure on me in those situations.
I do think that there is space for everyone to read at their own pace. I really do. But I think it takes a lot of mutual respect for everyone's individual journey. Like, that person with the 36 and you with the 100, them not feeling judged by you literally lapping their concept goal, and you not feeling like you have to spoon feed them your accomplishments. I'll just share this. I remember my friend came to me this year and she was like, oh my God, Jay, my goal is to read 12 books this year so I can do one a month. I was so excited for her because I know that she's not traditionally a reader and she has been trying to do it often. And the thing is that she kind of start and fall off. And so for her, she was just like, I feel like if I do an attainable number for myself and I set a goal, I'll be able to do it. I was so proud of her, and I've checked in on her multiple times, like, hey, how's your reading going? Are you sticking? Like, how is your, like, a book a month, like, you know, timeline working? And I was very proud of her for taking that on and doing it. So I've never set a reading goal. I don't really track my books in that way. So it's crazy. So it's all just like a conversation to me, but I find that very interesting. I think there is space for everyone. I think there is judgment on either side of that, and I don't love that because reading is not a competition. I feel like reading isn't, shouldn't, has never been, and I hope will never be a competition. It is either way of informing yourself, entertaining yourself, disassociating. Like, it is your role. Like, you read however you want to read for whatever reason you read. It really isn't in a competition with the person next to you, in my opinion.
I feel like we've gotten so lost in the land of Delulu that it sometimes feels like I'm bragging just by stating how much I've read. Mm-hmm. But really and truly, I'm proud of myself for making the time for that and protecting my mental health. Like, if you follow me on Instagram, you know my bio literally says I'm reading to save my mental health, because I have had to put myself on screen bans because I can't be on the internets like that anymore. All right. I'm old. Mm-hmm. My brain don't work that way. And I'm
old.
Listen. All right. Like Ella says in Ella Gets to D, my knees sound like glow sticks. Okay.
Yeah, you read for whatever it is that you're getting it out of. Like, I remember there was a time when I was reading purely to inform myself, and I was not necessarily reading for fun. I was reading to learn things. That didn't last too long because I don't really like to read for that. I like to read for fun. Yeah. And I mean, and I know you know specifically, like, I've really enjoyed the journey of consuming books for my own pleasure. And we've both talked about it on the podcast. Like, even reading for the podcast is a task. And sometimes it takes effort to read a book in time to do the podcast. So reading has a lot of different elements to it. You do it for different reasons. I think it's everyone's own individual journey. I think the only time it should be concerned with other people is if it's doing a collective effort. It's the very reason why I have yet to find a book club that's for me. Because I feel like when you tell me to do something, I automatically don't want to do it. I'm working on that for other reasons. But I think it's your own journey for whatever reason. Like, for me, reading makes me happy. It's a mental escape for me. Sometimes it's a thing I use to calm my brain down at the end of the day. Sometimes, like, especially when I do rereads, it's because I want to revisit certain characters or certain situations. So you read for whatever is the reason you want to read. I hope no one ever feels judged. And especially on the podcast. I hope no one ever feels judged about if you've read one book of the podcast, all the books, none of the books. Like, it's your own journey. I hope you just let us tag along with you when you do it. But yeah, everyone's reading journey is their own.
That's right. You know, here on The Lone Limit, it is a safe space. And speaking of that, today's book rec. You know, we're gonna make it a little safe space for LGBTQ people.
Yep.
Why did you say you like that?
It's that's the plus on it, you know. That's the accent mark is the plus. You know?
All right.
Jay would like to do queer book recommendations.
Yeah.
I'm totally fine with that. I just want to let the internet know that I don't read a lot of queer romance. Not because I don't like it. It's just usually the actual plot line is the part where I struggle.
I feel like I actually have accidentally read more than I thought I did. It's not something that I seek out, not because I don't like it. It's just one of those things where it's just like, I feel like it's newer. I don't know how definitive that is. I feel like it's newer, and it's like certain plot lines don't jump out at me. But when I went on Storygraph and like filtered it, I was like, oh, I have more than I thought. Like, in my mind, I was like, oh, I know for a fact I want to recommend this one, and I was like, oh, I have more That's what I thought. So yeah, I guess
I feel like
of us two. I think it's more my wheelhouse.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the ones that I've read are not something I want to recommend on this podcast.
That's fair, and that's a real, you know.
Yeah,
that's a real criticism. That's not. Yeah, it's yeah. We said it before. Like everything we read may not be something that we wreck. So.
Yes, because I've read some, but I do have two that I think could be given to the masses here, whatever the masses may mean for us.
I feel like this is the equivalent of like with the rating where I'm like, who goes first, you or me? I need more time. So do you want me to go or do you want to go?
No, I'd rather just rip it off like a Band-Aid before I get nervous.
Go ahead.
Number one would be Trick Shot by Kayla Gross. Gross?
Oh, I'm not sure, but that's a good one.
You know, it's a good one.
And it's kind of like in the holiday-ish wheelhouse too, yeah?
It is.
Yeah. Okay.
More Christmas than Thanksgiving, but still it counts. Homie is snowed in at an airport, meets a cute guy that she thinks is a hockey star, and he invites her to spend the evening at his place. And then his buddy, his roommate, is also there, and some things happen. Okay.
Merry Christmas.
Ho ho ho.
Yeah, that was, and that I think that has a sequel too. That was a wild book ride.
I actually like it better than the sequel. The sequel follows Homegirl's sister, and was I given what I
agree.
needed?
I think the first one was better, but it was
the Kinks
experience.
The Kinks also were not my thing.
Okay.
So I think that's also part of the problem where I was just like, yo.
You mean in the second one or the first one?
The second one. It was a turn off.
Okay. You know? That's valid. All right, hit me with your second one.
This one, when I tell you I devoured this book, I mean, like, I got it on a Friday and I was finished with it by Saturday morning.
Okay. A good book is a good book. You gotta love it when it just calls to you.
I'm going to recommend American Queen by Sierra Simone. Simone?
Okay.
Yeah, Sierra Simone. I'm going to put it this way for y'all. The prologue of this book is written in the POV of a woman who's walking down the aisle to marry the President of the United States. The handkerchief in his front pocket of his suit is her underwear, and the hickey that's being covered by his shirt is from the Vice President, who's a man.
Girl!
This was the prologue. This was like the first paragraph.
I'm already hooked. I'm here for the drama. It's a chance. At first I want to be like, why did you tell me about this? But at the same time, you probably have. And I was just like, all right, cool. But
no,
I gotta get into it.
This was the very beginning of my Bookstagram journey last August. I saw it as a recommendation, read the back of it, and said, okay, I'll give it a shot. Mm-hmm. Bought it on the internet. The minute it showed up, I started reading it. I said, oh, okay. I will warn people that it is a 3-book series.
Okay.
I did not read book 2 and 3. From what I see, it is a heartbreaking journey that I do not want to sign up for. So I'm going to leave it at book 1.
I love how you warn people that it's a series.
Because technically book 1 ends on a cliffhanger. But in my mind, I shut it off before that.
You were, okay, I got you, yeah.
I want to be real with the people here, because if you read all 3 books and you say, Chelsea, that was a terrible series, I'm going to go, you know what, in my mind, it was a one-off.
Book 1. Yeah, no, I get it.
You know?
I get it. And it's funny you say that, because my recommendation is actually in a series where I went very against my typical grain. I only read 1 book that wasn't the first book in the series. And I was kind of like,
let's
go. No, because my reasons as to why I don't like doing that showed up in the book. No.
Fraudster.
No.
out here sitting on your high horse about not reading books in the correct order, and you out here doing it too.
Literally, my reasons for not doing that showed up, which is why I don't like doing that. Don't come for me.
I don't want to see the karate hands, all right?
Okay,
I am
anyway.
correct.
I feel like, Chelsea, I just want to fight for fight's sake. But anyway, the book.
Yeah, what's this book, Jay?
It's called How to Get the Girl by Anita Kelly. And I really think I was just, like, targeted for this book because I'm a WNBA fan, honestly.
Okay. It's basketball.
Yeah, it's like basketball season. It popped up like, I don't know if it was like preseason for WNBA or like early in the season. And it's exactly why I went against my grain and not reading the first book, the first release book. So it's the second book in the series. And it is a high school coach who ends up coaching the niece of a former WNBA player. And they end up like, them saying they end up falling in love is so not what the story is.
Clarifying question here. Is she falling in love with the player or the ex-WNBA player?
The aunt, the ex-WNBA player.
Okay, I just was like, yo, I know you did not just recommend a high school love story between a coach and a player.
No.
I was like, Jay, are you okay?
First of all, I will rarely wreck an age gap, which is hilarious given today's book, but in this particular book...
We gonna get into it.
Listen, in this particular book, the coach ends up coaching the niece of a former WNBA player, and as a WNBA player is taking care of her niece and everything like that, they end up getting close and yada, yada, yada. It's actually, y'all, it's really cute. I super suggest it. It's super cute. Funny enough, the reason why I didn't read the first book in the series is because the first book was surrounding a cooking competition. And for those that didn't know, I worked at Food Network for 2 years, and there's just some things I'm like, too close to home, can't do it. So I just went straight to book 2, and I was like, all right, I'm here for the sports romance. And it was, oh my God, y'all, it was so cute. And then I'm gonna cheat a little bit. Who's gonna stop me, Chelsea? I'm gonna be in so much trouble for that. I'm gonna be in so much trouble for that.
I'll shut it all down. Not really.
So my next rec, I'm gonna rec 2 books and pretend it's one because it's by the same author. Who's gonna stop me?
Jay Ashlee.
Who's gonna stop me?
Me. Pick one.
Okay, I'll pick one. And because I did a sports romance, I'll do another sports romance, and it's soccer, which if you are a soccer fan, you know it is built for this type of setup anyway. And it's gonna be Cleat Cute. And Cleat Cute, it's a veteran soccer player and like a rookie soccer player comes on the team. The rookie player was like in love with the veteran forever, and they end up on the same team and all the things and playing minutes and starting lineups. All these things matter now. So, and it's set in New Orleans, which we have talked about, like location settings in books. It's set in New Orleans, but they like show you New Orleans, and I was like, come through, Noah. So yeah, those are my 2. I wanted a 3, but Chelsea won't let me. So just DM me if you want that 3rd one. Why they did it like an underground deal?
I don't know, but just know we gonna talk out here. First off, y'all, she caught me off guard and said, hey, we didn't pick a book rec. I think we should do queer book recs. Ma'am.
It was a suggestion. Take all that neck out your voice, all right?
I got all the neck.
All right, Chelsea, we can fight later. Can we?
Oh, we got something else to fight about.
Oh,
we got something else to fight about.
What else? What did I do? I might have did something.
Jay, a topic came up that we agreed that we would wait till the podcast to discuss.
I agreed to this? What?
We agreed to discuss the ideology that for it to be a true enemies to lovers book, it has to be a slow burn.
Oh, I did agree to this. How hard do I want to fight today?
Just remember, we still got to fight over this book that we're reviewing today.
How hard do I want to fight today?
But I also don't want a fake W. You know, I want to win for real, for real. I'm going to tell you right now, it's got to be a slow burn. It's got to be. I need some shenanigans. I need some destruction of life and limb before we get to the lovers section of an enemies to lovers romance. And I stand on that hill, and I will die on that hill.
So that is not a requirement for me for an enemies to lovers.
Frenemies to lovers, then.
Listen, we are not gonna fight about the distinction between enemies and frenemies to lovers right now, because that's a whole other. No,
That's what you're describing, though.
No. I believe you can have an enemies to lovers. That is not a slow burn.
Okay, and how do you do that?
I think if you have that combustible energy from jump, you can have that expressed and think pressure cooker. You can let that let out sexually and be like, all right, cool, we're done. Like, boom. And then like things keep bringing you back together. And
that's
then,
not an enemy, though.
If y'all are fighting and you have different goals and you have opposing thoughts, that's not enemies? Are we about to define enemies right now?
Because if you're my enemy, you're my enemy. I want to see you fall, okay? Don't touch me. Ew. Back up. Don't touch me.
Okay, but what if... I don't like the term devil's advocate. Okay, but what in the case if getting touched gets you closer to your objective? Is that
Are
not
you
strategic?
saying sleeping with the enemy? Sleeping with the enemy?
Is that not strategic?
I think it depends. I think it depends on. First off, stop trying to catch me. All right, stop trying to catch me here.
I'm not trying to catch you. Make yourself clear.
Here's my thing. If we are going to build up that they're enemies, you still have to build up the fact that they're enemies before they could sleep together to be strategic. So even then, I don't want it to be chapter 3 and y'all are sleeping together.
I will agree with that. So then I think we need to decide what constitute a slow burn then. Because I agree. I think chapter 3 is too soon. But I also think like 50% in is like too long.
But that's the whole point of a slow burn. All right.
But what I'm
Are you
what
okay?
I'm saying
In the event of sleeping with the enemy to achieve your goal, yes, 50% is a little bit far into a story. But if your first line of attack is to sleep with your enemy, it's not a slow burn. All right. I want you in the book to try and break that enemy down multiple ways before we resort to that.
I agree. I do not think that should be the first resort. I do not think that should be like the first player drawing up in the playbook. It is so sports season.
Listen, don't get me started.
Listen, I don't know. I am not a writer by trade. So this may be speaking more to story structure. I don't believe in the concept that it has to be set up and approached like a slow burn for it to be a good enemies to lovers. That's just my belief.
And I believe that if y'all are actual enemies and y'all start sleeping with each other around the 30% mark.
Ooh, I wanna catch a distinction. You said sleeping. If it's continual, I don't think that qualifies as enemies to lovers. I was thinking getting
one time hit it and quit
each
it
other, and then it comes back around later. If it's a continual sleep-in, I don't believe y'all are enemies. I understand that. But if it was a in and out, and we still got beef, I believe that more than I would a continual. Sleeping was like, ooh, no, I don't co-sign sleeping. But slept, I think there's room and space for slept.
I think if it is set up correctly, I will allow the asterisk. Okay, that means you slept with this person to get some information, like James Bond type stuff. Okay,
that's how you know I love a spy book, because I'm like, yeah, that's the situation exactly I was thinking in my head.
Shout outs to Ian Fleming on that one. Yeah, nah. In that case, if we on some James Bond, I'm sleeping with you to get some information because you don't really know what's going on type stuff, I will accept it, but not early in the book. Okay, I need you to attempt 3 other ways to get that information before we get there.
That's valid. I will co-sign that. I also want to be clear. I'm not assuming spy as this only situation that this will apply. I love a good spy story, so that was the first thing that popped in my head as a defense to this argument.
Yeah.
But I think it can apply in other areas as well. Like,
mafia, arranged marriage type situation.
Not my vibe, so I can't speak to that.
All right, you know what? You're done. You're done.
Are you just gonna shut me down?
Jay, I believe you asked the question, who gonna stop me? And I said, me.
Touche.
You're stopped. You're stopped.
Valid.
Because
I accept being stopped. Go ahead.
I'm ready to fight with you for the main fight. We had our little what is it? We had the early card events. Now it's time for the main card event. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was like my warm up. I'm like ready to go. I'm ready to go. Let's go.
I'm gonna pull up my notes real quick because I got notes.
You got notes? I got notes. Let's go. I don't know why I'm being so aggressive, but
because you know I'm about to come to you with facts, and you got to be ready because
I think you're coming in with opinions.
Guys, Jay made me read a book twice, and she knows how I feel about this book. Here's the deal.
Before we jump into the book, I will say this. If you've been rocking with the podcast, you know our little situationship with Twisted Love on the first episode. This was my Twisted Love to Chelsie. I read Twisted Love thinking she wrecked into me, and I literally called in that for this book for her read it for me.
If y'all have been rocking with the podcast for a while, you know that I like to sign off with "Don't be an Acacia." Mm-hmm. And if you've ever thought to yourself, who the hell is Acacia?
I don't know.
Today's the day.
Yep.
You for sure know.
Oh, I know, but they may not have known.
Today's book is Mistakes Were Made.
Mm-hmm.
And mistakes were made.
Really?
When I agreed to read this book. Not once, but twice. Okay?
I'm trying to think, do I want to take responsibility for you reading it twice, or do I want to take responsibility for you reading it once?
No, it's twice. It's absolutely twice. Here's the deal. Here's my argument. And I know I can't lose this one. Jay comes to me last fall and goes, "Oh my God, I just read this book and I really need someone to talk to about it. Please, 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 will you read it?" Mm-hmm. I said, "Okay, fine. Give it a shot." I read it. I let her know my thoughts then. Okay? Mm-hmm. Listen. And then, fast forward. I say, "Hey, bud, you want to do a podcast? Let's do a podcast." And I sign off saying, "Don't be an Acacia," thinking it's a cute little insider joke. Mm-hmm. And then Jay comes to me and she goes, "Hey, friend, I should really explain who Acacia is." Mm-hmm. And that's today's episode. So it is your responsibility twice that I had to read this book because you knew I wasn't going to remember it the first time. When I
Okay,
tell
but
you
part-
I didn't
but
remember
part
this
two
book.
is attached to the podcast, and the podcast was initially your idea. So that's what I'm saying. I don't know if I want to take full responsibility for the second one.
Do you think I'm Boo Boo the Fool? Do you think I'm gonna agree to the nonsense you just said to me?
Chelsie, if I don't say it enough, I love you. I gotta butter her up, y'all. I gotta butter her up.
Here's the deal, y'all. Here's the deal. I've never read a character before where I just said, all of this is your fault. You're not even a main player in the game and it's still your fault.
Yeah. Okay,
So-
one thing I will say, and this is where I will, in all seriousness, I'm not joking at all. I have to give complete props to Chelsie. Because I had read the book, I think at this point when I was just like, I can't get past it, probably about 3 times.
Yeah.
And then that was why I was like, Chelsea, I need you to read this book. I was like, because I'm doing book dumps and I can't figure out what the thing is that I can't figure out. You know what I mean? I hope book readers know what I mean, or they're just in there like, oh, girl, what is going on with your mind? But that was the situation.
Sometimes you gotta really process something and you gotta figure out why you stuck.
Yes.
And I figured it out.
And if y'all know that, y'all know I
Acacia.
process a book. And so literally, I had Chelsea read it for me. And literally, first read, she was just like, oh, Acacia's the problem. And as soon as she said that, it was like, okay, do you guys remember like That's So Raven? Remember when she's at her visions? That's what it felt like. That's what it felt like. It was just like, whoosh, like everything came in clarity. And I was just like,
ridiculous.
That was the missing piece for me. That was why I couldn't process the book, because it was never fully finished until you said that one thing that just clicked everything in place. And I was like, that was the thing I couldn't like figure out. And so book friend to book friend, thank you, because you like literally just like put that book to rest for me mentally. And I have now, oh gosh.
All the reasons why Acacia's the problem.
Oh my god, oh my gosh. Okay.
Reasons I Hate Acacia is the title of this phone note.
Okay, so here's my thing. I hate blaming a black woman though. That's the thing. Also, I'm just like, I don't want it to be her fault.
Don't be messy boots. She was messy boots.
She was.
She wasn't ride or die. That's the problem. She chose a newbie over her homie. But let's get into this.
Problems.
Let's start from the beginning. You know, it's family weekend at college. And Cassie says, I don't like my family. And goes to the bar. Cross town. Meets a hot young thing. Such a vibrant thing. Okay. Anyway, Jay, stop judging me. I have to make this fun somehow.
Go ahead.
And they have a little quickie. Okay? Next morning goes to breakfast with her friends and realizes her little vibrant thing is her best friend's mom.
What are these descriptions? Oh my god!
Are you okay? Are you actually okay?
I will be. Okay, continue.
No. I was gonna ask, if you could think back to that first time reading it, did you gasp? Did you clutch your pearls as you found out this discovery?
Oh, absolutely. Breakfast, I was like, no! I was dramatic as hell. But I will say this though, that breakfast reveal, which is like what chapter like 2, I think, maybe 2, maybe 3.
Yeah,
like, it's quick.
It's 3.
That, in the chapter scares me because it means you took notes. Okay, anyway. That's scary. Okay, that breakfast reveal is why this book was on my list to read. Because y'all know, if there's 2 things about me, the internet is a trap, watch out for it, and I love drama that's not mine. So this book being set up to be the epitome of drama that's not mine, I'm strapped in, I'm ready to go.
I will say, at that point, I was rocking with it. Mm-hmm. Meryl, I was rocking with you at that point because I said, "How you gonna get out of this, Cassie? What's the plan?"
Mm-hmm. But is it Cassie's responsibility to get out of that, or is it Aaron's?
Both.
Okay.
BOF. Both.
Both.
Okay. But then things go south real quick. Because from there, Cassie's best friend Parker is having a little acapella show, a little pitch perfect moment. And ends up sitting next to Parker's mom, Erin.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go to the bathroom to have a little goodbye makeout session, if you will.
I'll allow it.
And things are, at this point, I just went, Cassie and Erin, what y'all doing? Well, what are y'all doing?
I was trying not to judge. I was really trying not to judge, but I judged real hard at that point.
I wasn't judging. I just said, Logic has called in sick today, I see. And then here is where red flag number 1 comes in for me.
Ooh, okay.
It's some days later, and Cassie is sitting on the couch with Acacia. And Cassie finally admits, bruv, I made out with Parker's mom, and I hooked up with her.
Yeah.
And now I'm not saying Acacia had to do what I would have done in that situation, which is fall off the couch laughing and say, "Oh, you done fucked up."
She did do that though.
Acacia got mad at Cassie and said, "Why would you tell me this?"
Oh,
now,
yes.
Now backstory.
Yes.
Acacia and Cassie have been friends since they were like 10. All right? Since they were
Cassie was 10. Because they are about, what, 3-ish, 4 years apart?
They're a couple of years apart.
Yeah. So since Cassie was 10. Only making
I think that makes like...
Because I think I was tracking age like the government out here in this go round. Like I was like, who was born when, how, what? Yeah. So
listen. So that would have made Acacia like 7, I think.
About, yeah. Mm-hmm.
About 7. So they've been rocking with each other for a minute.
Yeah.
Okay?
They are minus the blood relation family.
Yes. And I looked at my book and I said, how are you going to be mad that essentially your sister is telling you some information? I understand that Parker is Acacia's roommate.
Mm-hmm.
But this is your sister coming to you and going, yo, I don't know
she's
what
struggling
to do.
with, because she was kind of acting out, trying to get over it before the submission. She was doing stuff, and now she's like, this was why. And yeah, her response made me want to hit her. With the book I was reading, made me want to hit her.
Yeah. So that was red flag for me,
Mm-hmm.
number 1. In any of your readings, did that become a red flag for you?
Yes. I think I caught it my 3rd reading initially, but this go round, and we've talked about how we do read books a little bit differently for the podcast. This go round, I went through the book with a fine-tooth comb, specifically 1 for Acacia, and 2, anything and everything that wasn't the Cassie Aaron love story. Because I had to remove feelings to... Stop! I can see you! I had to remove feelings as I'm completely, grinning and probably blushing. I had to remove feelings to think logically, to digest all the information that was given to me. Okay. And it was hard. It was hard for me. But I had to do it for the podcast, y'all. So don't say I don't love you.
Totally fair.
Mm-hmm.
Then we get to red flag number 2. It's Christmas break. And Acacia knows the situation with Cassie and Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
And Parker decides she's going to surprise Cassie and invite her home for Christmas.
Yeah.
Acacia knows this ahead of time. And number one, didn't try to persuade Parker to change her mind or give Cassie a heads up.
A heads up. Heads up. That part, oh my, I'm trying not to yell, y'all. I'm trying not to yell. I don't think I'm going to get through this episode without yelling. I don't think I will. I'm going to just tell you right now, I don't think I will. Okay, for me, I wasn't thinking about like red flag, but yes. And that portion frustrated me because Cassie, Parker, Acacia all refer to themselves as best friends. Cassie, when Parker called Cassie her best friend, Cassie really had to like digest it and process it and like, wow, yeah.
She was like, oh yeah, you are.
Yeah, it wasn't an automatic thing. The way that Cassie guards her heart, I so understood, respected, and I was like, girl, I get it. Yeah. So for her, best friend is not something you just throw around. It was one of those things where she was like, yeah, no, we've put time in, we've gone through things together, we've come out the other side. If you're calling me my best friend, I can consider you that too. You're an important person to me, right? So when Acacia, knowing what she knows, mad that she knows it too, understands the potential situation that you're going to be putting Cassie in, has an inside track to persuade because you're roommates with homegirl who got the power, and you don't say anything to Parker about like, nah, Cassie should come do family with us because we're going to miss her. Or she wants to go do something with rocket ships. Or, nah, she just wants to hang out on campus. Or if Parker just runs with the idea because she is a little bit of an entitled and just does what she wants to do a lot of times, give Cassie a heads up like, hey, just so you know, you're going to be spending the holiday break in tight quarters with someone that you got history with. Prepare yourself now. Nothing. What's your next red flag?
And then I'm a parlay that one into red flag number 3. Cassie goes with Parker home for Christmas. And she is determined to not fall into the trap that is between Aaron's thighs. And
Out
she
of
proceeds,
order.
I don't care. I don't care. I do not care. She then proceeds to text her sister Acacia looking for some support and some guidance. You know, to redirect her.
I have a question for you. Do you think that it matters that Acacia is black and Cassie is white?
No.
Okay. To me, their friendship and their relationship, all of that, it does not matter at all.
No.
Acacia not being there for Cassie in some moments, it matters to me a little bit. Purely because I'm just like, yo, you're supposed to have your sisters back. Like, at the end of the day, you should have your sisters back.
Here's the thing. I read this forgetting that Acacia's black.
You forget. That... She's not in any way stereotypically black, which I appreciate as a character. I appreciate that as a character. Like I said, for me, the disconnect was just your people's back. That's the thing. Like, Cassie is your people's. Like, I understand that you're not blood related, but she has been your family, basically your whole life. And so that is where I go, girl, you should know better than this.
Here's the perspective that I read this with. My best friend, she is my sister. We have been friends since we were almost 4. All right? I'm not revealing how old I am on this podcast, but just know that me and her have been friends for some decades. Okay? If she ever came to me in this situation and said, yo, I may have slept with our other friend's mom, I would have been like, on purpose or by accident?
Valid question.
You know, those are two different reactions. Because if you're going to tell me on purpose, I'm going to be like, for what? Have you lost your mind?
Mm-hmm.
And if she says by accident, I'm going to fall off the couch laughing and be like, oh, you in trouble. But at no point would I get mad at her. I'd be like, oh, snap. Right?
Yeah.
So that's the perspective that I read this book with. Not thinking about Acacia being black, Cassie being white.
Mm-hmm.
My perspective was, if I were back in their age range and this conversation was happening, how would old me react? And for Cassie to go to Acacia the entire time they're on Christmas break and be like, bro, I need your help.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be respectful of my friendship with Parker and not do anything with her mom again. And then for Acacia to give her attitude and not be supportive.
Yeah.
I said, first off, you set your friend up and let her go to this woman's house.
Just
for not like
set
a
the trap.
day or two, but like
2
for
weeks.
multiple weeks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like,
it was like a 2-week trip.
Then.
Right. And then not even care. Not try and help her out. Be like, yo, just lock yourself in your room. I think one of her texts
legitimately was like, just keep it in your pants. What?
Like, why can't you just behave? And I just went, what do you mean, Acacia? You set her up.
Yeah.
You actually set her up. It was almost like Acacia was mad at her and did this on purpose. Like, I started to think that this time around. I was like, are you doing this to punish her? Like, what's your problem?
Ooh, I never looked at it from that perspective, but
that's how I started to take it.
Yeah.
So we get to Christmas break, and if we just move my feelings for Acacia out to the side for a little bit. Aaron acts like a child.
Ooh, girl, I can see why you were like, I can't wait. Okay.
I literally wrote in my notes, they work great because Aaron is childish. Here's my thought process on this. Aaron is near 40. And she knows that this, I don't want to call her a child because that's gross in this situation.
She's not a child. She's a young
grown
adult. She's a young adult.
Yes. She can vote and she can drink legally, all right? She knows that Cassie is coming to her house. So what does she do? She starts sending nasty text messages to Cassie being like, I don't care about you.
Yeah,
I don't care.
That was annoying.
And I said, which one of y'all is supposed to be the adult? I'm confused.
Honestly, there were a couple of moments where Aaron acting the way that she did literally made so much sense for me when Parker did some of the things that she did. I was just like, oof.
Like mother, like daughter.
And then also, like, let's not forget, because father is a bit of a pill too, so it's just like, y'all kind of created a little entitled monster.
Right.
Who just happens to be a real good artist, but...
During Christmas break, Aaron and Cassie sparks start flying again. They thought it was a one-off, but turns out there's still something there. And they end up hooking up. Aaron then proceeds to act like a child again and try and shove Cassie away. And I said, what? You can't be using your glow stick knees in the bathroom to make Cassie happy and then turn around and be like, I don't know you. She's living in your house for another week. What do you mean? What do you mean? I was so through with her.
I was stuck on glow stick knees. Like, what? Okay. Aaron irritated me. Cassie actually didn't super irritate me. Because I feel like all the times when I ever felt that I didn't like her response to things, I was just like, that's an age-appropriate response.
I have no beef with Cassie. Cassie is the only one in this story that is not catching a stray right now.
Yeah. Like, for me, there was multiple times I'm just like, I'm not mad at her. she actually approached this maturely, and in the moments when she didn't handle it like perfectly, it was an age appropriate response. Aaron, I'm not ready or willing to put Aaron in the villain category yet. But
shall we continue, though? Shall we continue?
Girl, you about to ruin this book for me. I can feel it.
All right, so we get past Christmas break where things have started to pop off. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then I like this section of the book where Cassie and Aaron kind of stumble into a relationship, if you will. You know?
It was actually very adorable.
It was. I thought that part was very cute of where, like, Cassie was just a hot mess and she didn't know what to do, but she was just going to do things.
Yeah.
Like,
and the thing that I liked about it, because you're right, it's very much like a stumble into it. Like, neither one of them sought it out. It really kind of happened organically. The thing that I like about it, and I find it very adorable, is that you can see the banter between them. And then
super
also
cute.
Just, like, the natural chemistry as to why they keep feeling drawn to each other. Like, it is actually beyond the physical. They just both are too scared to put a voice to it because of all the implications.
Right. And so I enjoyed this part of Cassie and Aaron getting to know each other, sending happy birthday, learning how to cook, all these things.
Yeah.
And then we hit Valentine's Day. Cassie and Parker are hanging out, and a text comes in from Aaron saying, "Thanks for the flowers, babe." And Parker sees it while Cassie's in the bathroom. Now, the first time around, I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't paying attention. I don't even remember reading this section of the book, if you will.
Interesting. Uh-huh.
So naturally I didn't catch this, but also it's written in a way that's incorrect for MacBook, so I'm gonna let this one rock. Why you make that face? It is actually incorrect, because if I open the text on my phone, it won't actually go and ding on my computer. It's only if I leave it unread on my phone that it will then ding on my computer. I know this because the amount of double sounds I get in a day is aggressive. So, Parker sees it, and Parker doesn't have her Beyonce Lemonade moment. She just walks out. Partially, I would have flipped that couch over and we would have had some consequences and repercussions if I think you touching my mama inappropriately. Okay? So, shout outs to Parker for handling it a lot better than me. Okay? Because if I find out, you go find out, right?
Okay, can I just say in this moment, the first time I read this book, I won't say I saw it coming, I didn't see it coming, but as it was happening, I was like, this is the moment. This is the moment. And because I hadn't read the book yet, I didn't know what happens, and so I recognized the moment. In my mind, it was like, bookmark, like, this is the moment. And then as things kept happening, I was like, there, like, the outside, y'all don't see it? And then when it finally was revealed, yada, 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 I was just like, I can't believe that no one else saw it. Now, the first time I read this book, the book got put on my radar because there's a friend of mine who's also a book friend. We found out that we read and like a lot of the same books. So essentially, if she likes something, I'm like, go ahead, add it to my TBR because I'm going to like it too. And that's how Mistakes Were Made was even put on my radar. She had read it and did like a little review and was like, oh my God, it's so cute. And I was like, girl, you vouch for it. I'm gonna grab it. So at the time, I was asking, has anyone read this book? Because I needed to talk about it. I know you hadn't read it, whatever. And so she was the only person I knew had read it. And I was just like, I just need to know, did you catch the MacBook moment? Because I was just like, listen, if you guys are watching podcasts, you know, Chelsie will have whole reveals and be like, it happened here. And I'd be like, I did not see that until they told me I saw it, you know? So this was like one of the few times in a book where I was like, hello?
Yeah.
It was one of those things where I had such anxiety reading through the book because I recognized the moment when it happened that I was confused that no one else had figured it out. And then when it finally was revealed, I was like, yeah, no one noticed the change. So it was one of those things where it was very interesting catching the reveal before it was officially revealed to the reader. And then knowing that every single time I read it. It didn't impact the surprise for me, I don't think. But what did hit me, especially this read, was how petty Parker was ready to be. Like, ooh.
I'm gonna tell you right now. You start sleeping around with my mama behind my back and still smile in my face. You lucky if all I do is be petty. You lucky.
Valid. And again, this is where I'm going to say age-appropriate responses. The thing that irritated me, where's the conversation? Where is the conversation? On both ends, and again, Cassie, I don't have severe issues with Cassie's because it's an age-appropriate response. It's irresponsible, it's an age-appropriate response. But the thing with me with Parker, when Cassie goes, hey, I miss my best friend, and Parker goes, Acacia is your best friend? It doesn't matter how many times I've read this book. It rips my heart out every single time. What is this face, Chelsie?
Ashlee. Parker is either a freshman or a sophomore in college, which means she's either barely 18 or barely 19 at this point. At 19 years old, you lucky if I don't pull out some hockey, drop the gloves, we fighting kind of moment the minute I find out. All right, we setting it off. So
I think she responded with shock. I think she did respond with shock. So I'm not surprised she didn't respond in the moment, but afterwards, and then like the whole like relationship trap, I don't want to see you. Things. It was just.
I don't want to see you because if I see you, it's on sight. At 19 years old, if I find out you hanging out with my mama in a way I don't approve of, best believe Parker handled it better than me. I have no beef with how Parker handled it because listen, the Lord would have to come down out of the sky off his throne to save Cassie in that moment. In the time span where Parker finds out she stopped speaking to Cassie and is just choosing to not engage because she knows the other option is violence, I thought that was very adult of her because personally, I'm rocking it. I'm rocking it. So I didn't have a problem with how Parker handled that part. I did have a problem with Acacia in this time span, though. For the sake of time, I'm not going to go into every red flag, but just know I got like 5 of them marked, all right?
Acacia was messy. Acacia was messy. From
when Parker finds out on Valentine's Day. When Parker finds out on Valentine's Day that something may be happening between her mama and who she considers her best friend. She runs to Acacia and is like, girl. And Acacia lets it all out. Lets it all out. And then as Parker proceeds to freeze Cassie out of her life, Acacia says nothing to Cassie. And I said, oh, is this what we doing? This is what we doing.
We're doing now? I don't think I can express how much that hurts me. Every time I read the book, it like, even right now I'm thinking about it and it just tears my heart up. And I get it.
Audacity.
But who?
Acacia.
Oh yeah. No, and I hear and I respect your stance on Parker. On multiple levels, I do agree with it, but I can't fully co-sign it. I still got to negotiate some terms. But Acacia, through and through. You should know better.
Number 1, she chose the new person over her sister.
And that's what hurts. That's what hurts.
But then they throw that dinner party and Acacia lets Cassie walk into the lion's den of all these people who know and are looking Cassie up and down sideways, throwing subliminals. It lets Cassie break bread with these people.
And I will say this, Meryl specifically wrote this, so I'm going to mention this, and this is what, like, really made my blood boil with Acacia. Acacia instigates in several moments and does the ping pong eyes. Like, don't do that. Don't do that. Remove yourself if you're not going to do anything, or stand up and take a side if you're going to be in it.
But then she tried. Then this part did not stand out the first time, but when I tell you it stood out the second time. So they're at breakfast. It's Cassie and Acacia. And Acacia tries to info grab from
Cassie. Ah! Continue.
She said, I was doing my morning run, and you know what I thought of? And this is how you know it pissed me off, because that's actually a direct quote. She said, I thought about Aaron. So what's going on with that? You mean to tell me?
I can't. I literally can't. I can't do it with her. Because that moment, in my mind, I threw the ketchup lined burrito in her face and hit her over the head with the book. Because this is where I'm just like, her being black and Cassie being white doesn't matter to me at all, like in terms of interaction, except for moments like this. Because as a black woman, if you're gonna be messy, stand on that. Why are you acting like you not fishing for information? I heard so-and-so and asked the question. So you trying to go behind your sister/best friend, lifelong friend's back to get information for the new girl and act like it's spontaneous? Get out of my face. Please, respectfully, get out of my face.
And for those of y'all who support Acacia, I know y'all are going to come at me and be like, well, at this point, Parker was trying to come around and just wanted to know how Cassie was feeling about her mom. No. Miss me. Because that whole test at the party where Parker was trying to figure out just how deep in it she was and try to set her up with the crush she's had the entire book.
Yep.
Fake. You fake, Parker. You fake as hell.
I will say this, though. As a college kid, that scheme was not horrible. Like, I wasn't completely mad at that. I am mad at Acacia, though. I'm absolutely mad at Acacia because you knew. And you just let Cassie walk into that.
Listen, Acacia said, I don't care how long I've known you.
Homegirl had her popcorn watching every step of the way.
Like, every step of the way. And as this is all happening, Cassie is still falling head over heels for Aaron. They're having cute little rendezvous in Boston and whatnot. And I thought, that's cute. They finally found a city where they could be together and play out in the open, if you will. Like,
why would you say?
I did not mean literally. I need you to stop it. Okay? I did not mean literally, right? But as I was reading this, I had some thoughts about Parker. I'm going to just read these off to you. Did Parker think she could throw a tantrum and then come back like no one noticed?
Which tantrum when?
The whole time she iced Cassie out of her life and then came back and said, hey, you want to hang out?
Can I tell you, this go round, I was the most mad with Cassie for letting her do that to her. But at the same time, I understood why Cassie did. And it made me even madder because I feel like Parker knows. And that's how she knew. She could come and go as she pleased.
I also wrote down that Parker needs a better therapist because
the
one she was seeing on campus was not working.
Oh, yeah. That's a baby therapist for sure because she needs, I was going to say extra doses. I know it doesn't work like that, but yes.
Here's a thought, which I know is going to surprise you. This is where Meryl becomes the villain It's not Acacia.
We taking shots at authors now?
All right, hear me out first. Hear me out. You mean to tell me that you find out that your mom is sleeping with your best friend? Y'all have a conversation, you and your mom tells you why she decided to divorce your dad. And she says some nonsense about, I just want you to be happy. And all of a sudden, things are magically fixed with no real conversation about the fact that she's kicking it with your best friend. You mean to tell me, Meryl, that that's how you wanted to start wrapping things up? That's how you wanted to fix this situation?
I know exactly what you mean. I have similar thoughts, but I was so over the subplots at that point where I was like, yes, fine. If that gets everybody back on track, let's go.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But like at that point, you just have to be like, yo, what is the story at this point?
True.
So now Parker's way of fixing things with Cassie is to start suggesting her and Aaron hang out more. Oh, Aaron can help you find an apartment in Boston. Aaron can do this. We're doing a graduation. Aaron bought you a motorcycle for graduation. You're going to come up and spend the summer.
Yeah.
Listen, you're going to come up and spend the summer with us. All of this. No conversations, right? That's Parker's way of trying to fix things.
That lounge chair is open.
And I just went. She got off way too easy.
Parker?
Yes.
Ooh.
For 6 months. For 6 months. Well, Parker and Cassie, for 6 months, was out here living lies. And we got this whole what's done in the dark comes to light situation.
Mm-hmm.
And both of them just said, "Da, buddy. Da, buddy." And I said, "No! No! Just kiss her already. Bitch."
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no rebuttal for that?
No, because I think all the things are valid. I had all of my similar notes too in terms of the villainy of the book. I think it actually goes beyond Acacia, because initially I just thought, oh, it's Acacia, but no, I think Parker has a hand in it. Sam has a hand in it. Adam is catching a stray just because I don't like him.
Is that the ex-husband?
That's the ex-husband.
He can catch 2 strays. He can catch 2.
Emerson, the brother of Acacia, because that I don't think was ever really explored. This girl has grown up in your house and is like a sister, is your actual sister's best friend and has lived in your house for almost your entire life. And her in a moment of crisis making out with you, okay, but you returning that was weird to me, and we never explored that. Especially because
But that's how you know Acacia ain't right. That's how you know Acacia ain't right. She tapped in the head because instead of being like, yo, what's your problem? She said, ew, that's kind of like incest.
And then like laughed it off and then like completely
multiple times.
And then completely just throws it back in Cassie's face when it was obviously she was in a moment of vulnerability. And that's what I'm saying. Like she acted a little bit out of character in that moment. And it's a thing of vulnerability and keeps throwing it in her face. I don't think that's funny. Okay. Can we go on to my favorite part of the book?
For the sake of my blood pressure, yes. Sure. What are your favorite moments?
Book is problematic from beginning to end, and I don't care because it gives me the feels, and I love that.
I have issues with the structure of the book. At the same time, I feel like I'm not allowed to have issues with the structure of the book because it's not structured.
Who said that?
Because it's not structured traditionally. So, Cassie is 21, soon to turn 22. Aaron is 39, soon to turn 40. Their birthdays are like 6 months apart, so it's probably like a 2 year or 1 year kind of, you know how like if you're in that weird calendar gap, it's ooh, 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 you know what I mean. I'm going to speak about this one moment to express what I mean. Later on in the book, like towards the end, after Adam and Parker walk in on Cassie and Aaron having dinner, like they were just trying to cook. They was just hungry, y'all.
Is that what they was doing?
In the kitchen trying to stir fry. Anyway.
What it seemed like was, you gotta eat the booty like groceries.
I'm moving forward. So yeah, when they walk in, Adam specifically says, like, what about you not making out with your daughter's best friend? And that is the time in the book where every single time I want to ignore all the problems and just lean on, but they're in love and they're so cute and they're somehow compatible in the acts of service and they just get each other in the chemistry, yada, yada, yada. And I go, if you swap the parents, if Adam is in that kitchen, and Cassie is practically in his lap, and Aaron walks in, and then Parker walks in, I'm calling somebody. The Pope, Al Sharpton, the police, somebody. I'm calling somebody. Somebody needs to be called. But I can't because it's not. And so it's like the heteronormative judging that I want to do.
Standard.
Does it apply? But I want it to because I feel like
it does apply. You're just choosing not to apply it.
No, I feel like it should. I feel like it should apply, and I want it to apply. The reason
you're
why I feel
choosing
like
not to apply it.
But you have to think about it like from a philosophy standpoint, right? The reason
all right,
why
Plato, come on.
The reason why I have problems establishing the same level of judgment for a heteronormative situation is that inherently, and this is not to pass general judgment, but inherently, a man in that exact position is weaponizing his power, reach, all of those things. Now, again, fine-tooth comb, when I read this go round, there were so many points where I wanted to scream and look at and point out the moments of power and balance and all the things in the relationship. I think I have to give Meryl a nod of respect because I've read 3 of their books at this point now, and if you've read them, you know there's a clear theme across. An age gap goes with it, and a bit of a power imbalance goes with it as well. Aaron and Cassie met family night in the beginning of the book, very thing. Aaron always sees Cassie as an adult that is just younger because of how they met, versus her friend, her daughter's best friend, because that's a secondary meeting. Okay, all right, all the shoulders, relax.
I'm letting you get your point out before I just give you mine.
Okay. From the very first meeting, Cassie buys Aaron a drink. That's a flip of a norm. After Cassie buys her a drink, she also closes out her tab. So for their first interaction, Aaron has not spent a dime on Cassie. The centered interaction was lunch with Parker, yada, yada, yada. Aaron picks up the tab. It was lunch with her daughter, whatever. Second interaction, Cassie insinuates bathroom. Aaron follows through. That's on her. And she even says I shouldn't, whatever. But Cassie is the one that initiates. I made a point to check and see. And Aaron only really initiates with Cassie, I believe, 2, maybe 3 times in the book. And Boston, the apartment, like later on, is one of the few interactions in that case. So for me, it's a little bit like, I want to scream, I want to run, I want to call somebody. But if you really break it down, I don't feel like Cassie's being taken advantage of, because Aaron never weaponizes the power imbalance. And even with the whole like Christmas trip and yada yada, I'm paying for the flights, like Aaron never pulled up like, yo, you in my house, you know what it is. Like, it was actually the quite opposite of that. Like, Cassie had to pursue her. So, my mind is like, but at the same time, I'm just like, Cassie, as the younger, quote unquote, more vulnerable person in this relationship, I don't feel like she's in danger, so I feel like I have less problems with it. Ugh, that was painful.
Jay.
Huh?
Let's play a game here.
No!
If this is Cassie and Adam, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Cassie is still the one to make all the moves, and Adam is pushing her away. Is it still the same situation? Or are you using a double standard there, Jay?
I'm being a hypocrite.
Thank you.
Love them though, but I'm being a hypocrite. I am.
Now, I'm not a therapist by any means. But based on the backstory we get on Aaron, I'm gonna say a sentence. You don't have to respond to it right now. You can think about it. We'll talk about it off camera. But I think Aaron likes Cassie so much because she wishes she could have been Cassie growing up. Cassie is everything Aaron wishes she could be and more.
And you have just ruined the book for me. Thank you. I appreciate that, buddy. I can always count on you. Let me just cross out my rating right quick.
It's not that I was trying to ruin the book for you going into this. I genuinely put it on, started doing a puzzle, was living my best life, no screens. And then I started to think about it. Cassie is so free. She does what she wants. When she wants. She doesn't care who's thinking about her or who's worried about being perceived. Cassie lives her life. Whereas Erin has grown up her entire life worrying about perception, being approved by her mother, and all these things. So to get out of a divorce where she feels
perspective, but it is very accurate. I'm like,
you can still have your perspective.
I will, but I'm gonna have to process yours and then selectively forget it. But yeah,
the same way I selectively forgot the entire plot to this book, so it was almost like reading it again. I totally get it. But that was literally one of my notes, was just like, Cassie is the person she idolizes because she couldn't be Cassie.
That is wild, but yeah. And I didn't really even realize how exact opposite flip too. Because a lot of Erin's problems stemmed from her mother and that pressure, and literally Cassie had the complete opposite because she didn't have a stable home life from her biological parents. Obviously Acacia, the Webbs, Mama Webb and Mr. Ben, like, they stepped in, so she did have structure and family roots and stuff, but the biological like pressures that came with being, you know, a daughter and holding up the family line, Cassie didn't have that Erin significantly did. So yeah, I am going to have to process that information out of my mind at some point. Thanks for that, but valid point.
While you're giving me compliments here,
this is not the time to ask me to write the book.
No, I think this is the best time. I think this is the best time. Go ahead and tell me that new rating after you cross out the one you pre-wrote down.
I'm not crossing nothing out. I'm standing 10 toes down on this one. It just go.
You a lie.
I'ma just
you a lie.
Actually, for once, well, not for once, I actually have my rating. I do, but I know we have different ratings. I don't know because you haven't told me, but I feel like we do. I would like to hear yours first because it's going to be a complete contradiction. No! Don't tell me no. You know.
You know, it's really funny how you jinxed yourself earlier today and you said, who gonna stop me?
Okay, all right.
Come on.
I rated it a 5 because I couldn't.
Ashlee.
Chelsie. Yes.
Did we read the same book?
Apparently not.
Okay, you gave it a 5.
I gave it a 5. My rating for 5 is it's a yes. I will reread it, and it made me think and feel. That's, yeah. There's problems, yeah. I didn't ask for a perfect book.
The way your neck is moving.
Because I'm still processing. I am a hypocrite. And I don't like hypocrites, so I'm struggling with that internally right now. The thing is, even in light of you ruining the book for me, I still can't, like, the categories of my ratings, it doesn't allow it to go lower. I got the feels, so that kind of already puts you in a certain status. Will I reread it? I've already done it multiple times. Yes, I probably will do it again. So, yeah. And then, did it make me think and feel? Yes, I had physiological issues with the book. That is a heavy thinking moment. And then I got the feels. So that's a 5-star read for me.
Excuse me,
I'm
New
being
York?
dramatic.
New York?
I'm being dramatic. I'm being so dramatic. I need to calm down.
I
Let me
need
get
you to
some
take
water.
5. I had a
Chelsie,
funny
what
moment.
did you rate the book?
First off, the attitude in that simple question.
I don't, you know, I can't even say I didn't mean it. Okay, let me try again.
Okay.
Okay. I rated this book a 5. Chelsie, what did you rate the book?
Thank you for that fake revising of your question.
You're welcome.
There was a funny moment finishing this book today where I was like, I'm curious what I rated it last time.
Ooh.
So I went back and I looked at it and I said, I don't know if I agree with that.
Oh. Okay, wait, what was your original rating?
We're going to get there. We're going to get there.
Okay.
So I said, I don't know. I think it might be a little bit higher than that.
This time or last time?
Like this time it might be a little bit higher than last time.
Interesting. Okay.
And then as soon as I had that thought, Parker did some dumb shit. And I said, nope, it's still a 2. It's still a 2.
What did Parker do to keep it at a 2?
Number 1, we have the reveal where Parker already knew and she had moved on past it, right? And she was like, I'll handle Dad. And I said, this is a little weird of a reaction, but I'm going to let it go because you knew you had time to process. We going to keep it pushing. And then from there, her friends come over to swim. She just blurts it out.
Yeah.
She's like, go kiss your girlfriend or whatever.
Yeah.
She said, that's a little weird. Even at 19, I'm not that advanced.
Yeah.
19, I'm still a caveman. And then from there, they go and do something at 4th of July, and Parker was like, will you kiss her already? It's better than you guys, like, oogling each other. And I said, oh, no. Yeah. No. And then we had the epilogue where it's 4 years later, and Parker goes, are you going to marry my mom or not?
Yeah.
And I just thought, at least Parker's consistent. I just said, I can't rock with it. I can't. All right. I love the land of Delulu, but this is not my level of Delulu.
That's
it's not my flavor.
Okay. So your OG rating was 2. Your new current consistent rating is 2. Did it have a shot to get to 3? Is that what you're telling me? And then it just was like, nah, it stays at a 2?
I was like, maybe it's a 2.5, 3. And then I just said, nah, it's still a 2 because we got too many problems. Acacia a problem, Parker a problem, Aaron a problem, Adam is definitely a problem.
Emerson is a problem.
I ain't even worried about Emerson. Ain't nobody checking for him.
Okay, I wanna end this on a semi-positive note. If you love the book, because I still love the book. I can't. I know.
Okay,
I know.
Go ahead.
I know.
Rationalize it, Jay. Rationalize your hypocrisy. Go ahead.
I'm ignoring that. Okay, so these are some of the moments that just like had me grinning so hard. The charades game at Thanksgiving with Erin, her best friend Rachel, the family friends, the kids, and everything like that.
If you bring up cocktail dress right now.
What'd you say?
I said, if you bring up the cocktail dress moment.
It cracks me up every time. It's so cute. I love it because it shows that, like, here's a woman that had a very established, like, thing that she did. And post-divorce is
called a career.
Having a new thing, and she's still having fun. And her surrounded by her friends. I love that.
Great moment. Giving you that one.
Okay, thank you. And then I also really love the moment that Cassie realizes that she loves Erin. Because it happens very, very late. But it's also to the point where I'm just like, I don't know if I would have believed it if it happened any sooner. Because Cassie's the type where...
I would have if Acacia had been there to help her rationalize it all.
That, yes. Because she just basically attacked her every time that they talked about it. But
I do agree.
It was just one of those things where I'm just like, understanding Cassie's upbringing, her processing, her hyper independence for relatively valid reasons. It's just like, I understand all the walls and why they're there. And the fact that, like, Erin just seeped through all of them anyway. And it worked. They're so cute to me. I can't. And then Rachel. I love Rachel. I have a friend who's just like Rachel, and I love the Rachel in my life. She's a hoot from beginning to end. It's one of those things where I almost was like, wait, is their entire friendship like over the phone? And I was like, oh no, Erin and her meet up in person multiple times. I will say this, it was very suspiciously written that for 6 months, Rachel and Cassie were never in the same place until like the summer, but okay. But I love Rachel. I love that Erin has her to balance her out, essentially, because Erin is very repressed, very tight-knit, and then Rachel isn't, and I think she just needs that like outlet in some way, and I feel like Rachel supplies that. And then I think one of my other favorite moments is I loved Carolyn, the therapist. She cracks me up in such like a monotone way. When she goes, do you really think that 2 consenting adults is the most shocking thing I've heard in therapy? Every single time I read that line, I crack up because I'm like, girl, what's the tea? So there's multiple moments in this book that make me smile. There's multiple moments in this book that make me feel. Ultimately, I know it's problematic, but I love it anyway. And it is a fictional book, so I'm fully in the escapism, and it brings me joy.
Well, for the sake of our friendship, Jay, I'm going to say thank you guys so much for tuning into another episode of the Lone Limit Podcast.
Yes,
Don't forget, I'm your host, Chelsie. This is your other host, Jay Ashlee.
Hey.
Please check the links out down below. If you haven't hit that subscribe button and you made it this far, you might as well just go ahead and hit it. All right?
We are a blast, it's worth y'all.
Just click. Mm-hmm. All right? And just a friendly reminder, don't ever be an Acacia. All right?
Or a Parker.
Just don't. Parker's still a child. Don't be an Acacia. All right?
They're like, okay. We've said our piece.
Have we? We're not done. Anyway, guys, have a good time. Have a good day. We out.
Bye.